everybody, and welcome to another Cricut Craft tutorial. Today we are going to talk about Patterned HTV. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe to my channel because I put out new videos all the time, and hit that bell icon because that will alert you to when I post a new video. I have a couple examples of what I consider a patterned HTV, which just means that it is an HTV that has been printed on. This is not printed at home type of HTV. This is done with a solvent printer, and this stuff that I have is from 651 vinyl. I have a dirty baseball style, which I love. I can't wait to do something with this. The softball style, which is what we're going to use today. You can see I've already used it. We have a really fun galaxy print, which I love. I have no idea what I'm doing with this, but I love it. This is sort of like a watercolor type style, pink and blue. And then buffalo plaid, which is one of my favorites. And then when you do order, you'll want to make sure that you order this. And this is a transfer mask because these do not come with a transfer mask. So this is just a clear sticky sheet that will be like when you use regular Easy Weed or any of the other types of HTV. This is your carrier sheet, but you will want to order that with it. You can also use leftover sheets from old HTV. But today I'm going to show you guys how we're going to use this, and we're going to make this really adorable little brother softball shirt. This is such a fun design, and it was really easy to make, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it. And it is just a blast. And I'm also going to show you guys how you load the pattern from your HTV into your design space so that you can really see if you like the way it looks. So let's head over to Design Space so we can get started. In Design Space, we're going to go ahead and use a template just to give us a better idea of how this is going to look on our shirt. So what you want to do is click Templates, which looks like a little t-shirt, and you can either search it or just scroll down until you find what you're looking for. So we are looking just for a classic t-shirt. The nice thing with the templates is it gives you both the back and the front. However, you have to keep in mind that you're still going to need to size your project down a little bit, and I have noticed the templates load a little bit slow. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to the 651 vinyl website because we're going to use the patterned HTV with this, and I'm going to show you guys how we can see what that's going to look like when we do our shirts. So it gives you just sort of a little preview so you get a better idea of what it's going to look like. Now we're going to use this awesome softball print, which is super fun. The color on it's really, really nice and bright, which I love. I think that's great, and I like this pattern a lot. It's really fun to work with. So what you can do is click Save Image As, and I'll just save it into my Cricut folder. I'm just going to leave it as softball, and actually if you don't want the ruler in there, there is a second picture without it. So we'll use that one just because I just noticed that the ruler was there. So we'll just keep it as softball. Go ahead and save that. In your design space, you'll go back over to design space, and you want to click on upload, and you're going to click upload pattern, which is right over here, and browse. And what we'll do is go to our Cricut folder. Now remember, we know we called it softball, so we can easily find it just by typing in softball. This is our softball pattern. You can rename it if you want to, give it a theme, whatever you want to do. I never do any of that stuff. I just kind of leave it blank, so no big deal there. And we are going to go back to our canvas. And when we put in our words or our numbers, whatever we're going to do with our pattern, we can easily go ahead and do the pattern in it, and I'll show you guys that. So what we'll do, we're going to just do a little brother shirt, and so I'm just going to type, and I'm going to do this all in caps, so we'll just do little brother, oops, and make sure that R is capital, so we'll just do little brother, and I want to use one of the college or the varsity fonts because I want it to look like a sports shirt. So let's see what college looks like. I think college is kind of the one I'm looking for, and I want to do the condensed version of it. Now I realize it looks really, really tiny right now. We'll blow it up a bit so we can see it better. So we'll do this in a little brother shirt. This is going to go on the back of our shirt. So we'll use the back template here. And the one thing I don't love about Design Space is when you have this font pulled up like this, it's really hard to see it because you got to put it up towards the top of the shirt. Now we will resize this to fit on our shirt. But what we want to do now is curve it because we're going to curve it so that it kind of goes like it would if it was a regular sports shirt. So we might curve it a little bit more. I think it could use it. But again, it makes it hard to see it with the the way they have this. So I think that's pretty good. Yeah, that's really cute. I like that. We're going to go with that. And then we'll need to put the text in for her number. So his little sister's number, let's say that she is going to be number 65. That sounds like a great number. Now, I'm probably going to leave this in the exact same font because I think that's pretty much the kind of font they use for sports shirts. I don't really know. But we'll get that sized about the same with little brother because we're going to size them both at the same time when we do this. So we'll just make sure this is big. And I don't like how big that gap is, so I'm going to change my letter spacing down a bit so that they're closer together. Design Space has been just a little bit slow this afternoon. I do find sometimes, especially in the evenings, it does tend to get a little bit slow. I think there's just a lot of users on it. So sometimes when you're trying to letter space down, you may have to just physically type in the number because it literally goes like one little thing at a time. So I think we'll take it down to like a 0.4 and see what that does for us. Okay, I think that is actually perfect. And now we can size it a little bit bigger. And again, we'll size it down to fit on the shirt that we're using, but right now we're just doing it so it looks right. Now, we need to change this over to a print so that we can see what it looks like in that pattern that we're using. So we're going to go over here to where it says fill and change your fill to print. Now notice that it's still black, but we're going to change this up here, and where it says print type, you can either choose color or pattern. So we'll choose on pattern, and what you'll see once this loads is it has loaded all the patterns I've loaded myself, plus you get a ton of CRICUT patterns, which is fun, but we're going to use our softball pattern. And what this does, it's just going to give you a general idea of what this will look like in your pattern versus your just kind of looking at it in black. So we can get just a general idea. It will not look exactly like this, but this will give you an idea. We're going to go ahead and do the little brother in a separate color. I was going to do it in the same, but I think that's a bit much, and I kind of like the little brother in a different color. So this is a good look at how it's going to look on our shirts. So we can actually get rid of the t-shirt design, but you can actually change the sizes too if you wanted to in the color. So we can go over here and do a kid's short sleeve, and we know it's a size small. So we'll just move this and find where they put it. I don't like the templates because they do this to me all the time where they like disappear. You can change the color of your shirt. So we're using a gray shirt. There's a lot you can do with these. Most of the time I don't mess with them too much. I usually just size them down on my own because I find that their measurements are not the greatest as far as like your shirt size is considered. Let me move this over and I'll show you guys really quick. So right now they have it like kind of, I don't know. Ooh, way too close, way too close. We got a little excited there. So with this, we can move our little brother over, and I'm going to size it way down, but honestly, guys, I prefer, and this is just me, I will size it based on my measurements versus their templates, but that's just my personal preference. So I know that I can go about 7 inches wide, so we're going to stick with our width issue before we touch anything else. I'm going to hit undo really quick because I think I accidentally slid something and I didn't mean to. Yep, I did. That's okay. So we'll grab the little brother, and like I said, I can go about 7 inches wide, so I don't want to go a whole lot wider than that because of it's small. So we're about 7 inches wide, and we'll do about 6.35 tall. So we have this part, and then we have the little brother part. So they're two totally different parts. You don't have to use your template. You can get rid of it. You can delete it. You can just hide it, whatever you want to do. And we can just scoot this over. I prefer it in the corner just so I can look at it, see that I like it. I'm pretty satisfied. I'm not super worried about it lining up on the screen because it does have to cut 2 separate sheets. So we're going to go ahead, we'll click Make It, and this is super important. I'm going to show you this, and I did this on purpose. So a lot of people are like, oh, why is it wanting to put this box around it? Because we still have it set to print and cut. We just want it set to cut, and it is going to change the color, but it's not a big deal. So let's go ahead and click Cancel. I don't know why I'm still so close. These templates drive me crazy. So we'll select the 65 again, and what we want to do is change this over here to no fill, and then you want to make sure it's a different color than little brother because you're going to cut it out of pattern versus cutting it out of regular HTV, so you want them to cut on 2 separate sheets. So I just made it yellow just to kind of help my own brain. Now, little brother, you do want to mirror that, but you do not want to mirror the 65 because that is going on to our patterned HTV. Do not mirror Patterned HTV. You're going to cut that color side, design side up. We're going to go ahead and click continue, and it's going to take a minute because I probably don't, it's not going to find my machine. Just give this a minute to hopefully find my machine. It's been a little bit testy lately, especially since they did all these updates, so just keep that in mind when you are working with this. A lot of times it's just, see, and it's going to tell me that my machine's not connected. So you can just cancel your cut, click yes. Just make sure you do go back and mirror. I know a lot of people have been having these issues. I am right there with you guys. It's driving me crazy. So again, mirror little brother. Do not mirror 65. Click continue. Hopefully this time it will connect. If not, I will come back in 2 seconds when it's actually wanting to connect so I can show you guys how to select your material. So on your Explorer, you just want to set it to regular iron-on. And with a Maker, you just select iron-on right here on the screen. You're going to leave it as regular default. Sorry, I know I keep zooming, but it's like awkwardly sized right now. You're going to keep it on default pressure. It goes with your regular fine point blade in both machines. I'm going to show you guys how we're going to load our HTV and we can get it cut. So for the sake of the tutorial, and because this is not a shirt I'm going to do anything with, I'm just going to use some blue scrap that I have laying around. This is just so I don't have to waste some black, because I do use a lot of black, but I really am not going to use this color. So you put it shiny side down. This is enough HTV for the little brother part. So that's something you'll want to make sure if you're using a scrap that you do have enough for whatever design you are doing. Like I said, we selected iron-on. We have loaded our mat. And we're good to go. So we're going to let that cut. And then I'm going to show you guys how to load the patterned HTV. I love this stuff. It's really cool. Now this has been, again, a little bit slow. And I think a lot of it is just these Design Space updates. So I'm going to let this one cut out. And I'll show you guys how to load the pattern in just a second. So now that I've shown you how to flip it, you're just going to go ahead and load your mat. Just like normal. You don't have to load it any special way. You just have to put the HTV on a special way. And then we're going to let it cut it out. And again, it's going to cut just like normal, just on iron-on. This should cut pretty quickly just because it's such a simple design. But again, you'll want to make sure you do have a heat transfer mask. We're ready to put our heat transfer vinyl, the printed stuff, onto our mat, and I want to make sure that you guys get to see this, so let me scoot you back a little bit, a little more space. You are going to load it color side, printed side, I should say, patterned side up. There is no carrier sheet on this, so make sure you do get the heat transfer mask, which I will show you guys after we get this all cut out, and we're going to put it on our mat, just again, color side. Now you can always, if you wanted to, trim it down and turn it so that your stitches go the other way, but it's however you want your stitches to go on your design. Or you could also flip your design on your mat if you wanted to, which I actually think I'm going to do. So let me show you how to do that. So if we wanted to take our 65 and have it so that the stitches are going the other direction, so they're going up and down, all we're going to do is take our 65 and you're just going to turn it, and you're just going to kind of have to eyeball if you think it's straight to do this, but I think that's pretty good. So we'll go ahead and click on done, and then we can load it and get it cut. One is our pattern vinyl. You can see where it's cut. You probably can't on camera, but I can see it in person. So what you do is you make sure it didn't cut all the way through the back, because there is a backing on this. And you just weed it like you would regular vinyl. And we're just going to go ahead and pull this off. This weeds really, really, really nicely. I would say it's probably one of the easier items that I have weeded in a long time. I very much like this, and I think the pattern came out really cute, and I'm glad I flipped it. I really wouldn't have liked it the other way. I think this looks way more like a softball this direction for some reason. It just reminds me more of it. I like this stuff. It's really, really soft, and it's really smooth, and it's a nice matte finish, which I like. So let me get the transfer mask, because you do need a heat transfer mask on this one, and I'll show you guys how to do that. So when you go to order this, you will see that there is an option for the heat transfer mask. I cut this down to size, but you do want to purchase that because you will need it for this project. So basically all it is just a clear carrier sheet. You're going to lay it on top of your vinyl, and then you want to use a rubber scraper, not the CRICUT plastic one. You want to use this one. It's a little bit bendy. This one is from 651 Vinyl. They're only like $2. Cool part is you get to pick your colors. So I got this really pretty, I think it's called lilac. I don't know, I call it purple, but I think on this website it is lilac. But I really like it. It works really well for this kind of stuff. So just like when I do regular vinyl, I always flip mine over. I find it easier for me to peel the backing from the vinyl versus the vinyl from the backing, if that makes sense. So you'll just want to take your backing from your printed vinyl and pull it off. And this is pretty easy. It goes pretty quickly. It's nothing too crazy. And this is what you have. And this is sticky. And then you have the little brother part. So this will be what we're going to put down. Now these do use 2 different temperatures. This one is done at 320 and is a cold peel. So I'm going to do this one first. And then this one you do at 285 for about 10 to 15 seconds. Probably closer to 15, I'm guessing. And then you do a warm peel. So let's go over to the heat press and we can get it all pressed. We're now ready to press onto our shirt. So one little trick that I use is I fold my shirt in half and I basically just match sleeve to sleeve. And then I will lay my shirt on my heat press and I will try to make sure that it's not wrinkly anywhere on the shirt, which I can feel a big wrinkle back here. So I just try to make sure I work out any wrinkles, especially where I'm going to press, but it's good not to have any wrinkles at all on your shirt. I think I've got one back there, but that's okay. So what I do is I just do real quick press, only a couple seconds, and what that does is it's going to give you a nice center line to work with. So you'll see we have a little, I don't know how well you guys can see that, but there's a little bit of a center line on this. And I want to make sure that I get this lined up nicely. Let me fix the little mat on here. So what you want to do now is lay your shirt down. And being that this is kind of a smaller shirt, you want to make sure all of your seams are off of the mat best you can. And if you can't, you can get a pressing pillow. But I do have a seam right here from the collar. So what I'm going to do is grab another piece of fabric that I have. I'm going to find one here. And I just use like a scrap piece that I probably just have from like another project. So this is just some bunny fabric. But what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to put it inside of my shirt. And I'm probably going to go through the bottom because I'm so used to working with adult shirts. It's a little bit easier with adult shirts. There's more space. But we're going to put that inside of our shirt. And you can use a towel or a pressing pillow. But if you don't have a pressing pillow or you don't have a towel, you can use a piece of fabric. And all I'm doing is making it so that where I'm going to press is in fact lifted up over where that seam is from the front collar, because we are going to put this pretty close to the collar. So once we've done that, now you're going to take your center line, which you can still see, find the center of your decal, which you can just do by folding it in half, and it's just right on the edge of the B. So we're just going to use that center line. We're going to line her up. And again, I said this one is a 320 cold peel, so we're going to put that down. And I almost forgot my Teflon sheet. That would have been very bad. Always put a Teflon sheet down. I had it sitting there, thank God. So we're going to just push down. This is going to be a firm pressure. Hit the down arrow. That'll start your timer, at least on this heat press. I will say that we will need to do this more of a medium pressure for the printed. So I'll show you guys how to change the pressure on this guy. And to change the pressure, you're just going to take this and slide him back. I hit the wrong button. So you're just going to just twirl that around just a little bit. You don't have to do a full twirl, just about a quarter twirl. We're going to let this cool, and what you can do to help it cool off, and I'm going to go ahead and keep that fabric inside of this because I want to keep it so that we can use it when we do the 65, the number. So we're just going to go ahead and do this, and while that's cooling, I'm going to turn the heat down on this, and to do that, I just hit set, and then I use my down arrow, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but I am putting it down to 285. And almost there. I hate the beeping on this. It makes me crazy. So hit set again, and then it's going to drop its temperature. While it's doing that, like I said, we're going to let this cool off. I'm going to just make sure this plate is out of the way. And we're just going to take the bottom of the shirt, and I like to just use it to take some of that heat off of my vinyl. That's pretty cool. We'll see if it'll peel. Again, this is not my favorite vinyl. I don't like it. It annoys me more than life itself. It's just cheap junk from Amazon. But for these types of projects and just to show you guys how to do this, it's great. But otherwise, do not. Oh, actually, it's nice. Actually, this one came out really nicely. It's very, very soft on the shirt. So hopefully you guys can see that. So we're going to let the heat press cool down to the correct temperature, and when we come back, we can press the 65. So we've got our Patterned HTV applied, and I've just centered it with the little brother part. Simple, easy part to do. I do have my heat press set to 305, and I'm going to do a firm pressure for 15 seconds. As long as your product that you're pressing on is not rayon, you can go up to 305. To be honest with you guys, I did it at 285. It did not want to stick, so I did contact somebody who has done this a million times, and they said 305 is fine as long as it's not rayon. This is just a cotton shirt. So we'll go ahead and get this going for 15 seconds. And it's amazing to me how long 15 seconds really is when you're waiting for something. So we're going to go ahead and wait for that little timer. It's going to go off. We're going to go ahead and lift up. We'll turn the timer off just by pressing the down arrow. And again, this is a warm peel, so don't peel it right away because it is really hot. So we just finished pressing, so we're going to let this cool just a little bit. Not much, just a real quick swipe. We're going to go ahead and peel. And it's going to just come right off, just like you would do with your regular HTV. You're just going to peel off your carrier sheet. Remember, this is a warm peel. And there we go. Simple as that. Now, keep in mind, you can save your carrier sheet. It is still sticky. I will caution you to make sure that you keep any dog hair, glitter, anything like that off of it, because if you reuse it and press, it can press into your vinyl. I hope you guys had a fun time learning how to use Patterned HTV. I really like this product. It's nice and soft and pliable. You can see it's not real crunchy or anything like that. So it's great for kids' shirts or adult shirts, and it's great on your chest unlike some of the thicker stuff. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos all the time. I'll make sure that this is linked below so that you can get to this patterned vinyl. Have a great day and happy crafting.